Greetings, kindergarten class. It's good to be with you today. Today we're going to have music. We're going to review a little bit of some things that we've talked about, and also we're going to add a few new things to start learning. So I look forward to working with you for the next few weeks as we have in the past. I miss not seeing you, but I also can see your faces, and that helps immensely. I probably will ask a few of you a couple questions from time to time because I know that you will answer them, and I know that all as a class that you'll answer the questions that I ask. So let's start with a little bit of review. We call this the treble clef. Underneath is the bass clef. Okay? This little line that's here in the treble clef and here in the bass clef makes a measure. Right? So we call that a measure line. And at the end of our little piece of music, we have two lines, a larger line and a smaller line. And Alex, I know that's one of your favorite things, the finish line. We call that the double bar line. That shows that our piece is at an end. Now, our notes in the treble clef are all eighth notes. They're all TTs. Okay? So we have 8 going up and 8 coming back down. Do we remember what we call that when those eighth notes go up by step? Each one by step. Greta, you are correct. That is a scale. And one of our helps learn about a scale is our stair step. Okay? We go up the scale just like we're going up the stairs. And remember, when we go up the scale, we call that ascending because we're going up. And when we get to the top and turn around and come back down the stairs, we call that a descending scale. So we have an ascending scale and a descending scale. And one of the things that we've talked about that I think is very important with music is that music is not just a sound, but music also has color and music has shape. And if we look at this, we see that we go up and we come back down. So it's like an arch. Or think of it as a rainbow where you have a bow where you come up and you go back down. And that sound is very familiar. Okay, that's a C major because we start on middle C, scale that goes up to the next highest C, repeats and comes back down. So that has the shape of a bow or any kind of an arch type of a shape. So that's our treble clef. Now we move to the bass clef, and we have what looks like the beginning of a snowman. And we only have one in each measure. We remember that those are called whole notes. Very good, Sebastian. It was right on the tip of your tongue. So we have whole notes here. And if we have 4 beats in the treble clef, we also have 4 beats in the bass clef. So each whole note is ta, ah, ah, ah. 4 beats. Played once, sustained for 4, and again. Ta, ah, ah, ah. Now, there's a group of 3 notes here, whereas here we just have 1 note. Those 3 notes are called, Bennett, that's right, they're a chord. And they sound together a very familiar sound. Now, does anybody remember what we call the top line when we have music that has chords underneath and a single line above? We talked about this being the melody. Very good. So this is the melody. And underneath and supporting the melody is the, Nate, you got that right. That's the harmony. Okay, very good. So here we have the melody and we have the harmony. When we put them together, we have our little song. We have the chord with the ascending scale and the descending scale. And we know that since we start on the middle C, that this particular little song is in C major, which has no flats and no sharps. Bradley, very good. You remembered that a flat has the note sounding a half step lower. Now what happens if in our song we make a couple of these notes flats? Let's make the third note flat here and here. And then let's also make the sixth and the seventh flat. And then we did it going up, we better do it again going down. Now we're going to talk about something that's a little bit different sounding, correct? Because the first time, what we had on the board, we have a nice bright sound. We'd call that a very happy sound. What happens when we make the third, the sixth, and the seventh flats? And there's where we have that dark sound that always makes Isaac cringe a little bit because we go into minor, right? So we have, by putting the flats in at those places, and especially in our chord, we have a chord that is now a minor chord as opposed to a major chord, which is a much brighter chord. Now, if we're going to talk about flats, we probably should also talk about the opposite of a flat, which is... Alexis, I think I heard it. It is a sharp. That is correct. And the sharp makes the note go up. So if we take our two chords and we place a sharp sign by, let's do first and first. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 1, 3, and 5. And we put a sharp here and here. What will that sound like? Oh, it sounds pretty dark, doesn't it? So if we have it as all naturals with one flat and two sharps, it's still a very dark sound. So in order to make the C chord sound bright, let's make them all sharp and see what happens. Now our chord sounds like this. Oh, it's bright again. So that raises the sharp sign. Remember, sharp up, flat down. When we think of a flat, we sometimes think of a flat tire on our car, which takes all the air out of it and makes it go down. But by putting a sharp sign, we raise the note half a step. So we talked about flats, we talked about sharps, and now we're back to our melody and our harmony. Now, can we take what's in the treble clef, the melody, and put it in the bass clef, and put the bass clef in the treble clef? I don't know. Could we do that? If we try that, what happens? We then moved our melody down into the bass clef, but it still has an ascending scale and a descending scale. So we like to think of our music as being pretty alive and fluid. We can make the notes go into different places. Okay, I think you've done a wonderful job today. When we have our whole notes, ta, ah, 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 it sounds at the beginning of the measure and goes through for the whole measure and then plays again. That means that each note on the top, each group of TTs, 2 8 notes, have one beat. So we count this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the same value exists within the measure. Well, until next time, I hope that you have time to think about ways that we can write some different songs. And before the school year is over, I'm going to have you help write the song too. so that we can have a creative piece that we put together as a class. Thank you so much for your time, and God's blessings upon all of you, and we will see you next week. Thank you.